Hello, everybody. Welcome to my weird, wonderful world. And this is just a very quick bonus episode for today. I was thinking about my favorite singers, my top 10 favorite singers with notoriously, or, it's divisive, okay? Some people love their voices, some people don't. But there are some honorable mentions that I could have thrown on this list, but again, I some of these I don't listen to enough. Okay, like for example, Lou Reed. I don't listen enough to Lou Reed to put into my top 10. And there's other ones who some people, and it has been I had looked on numerous lists on Google to do a little bit of research. Some people put Alice Cooper in this list. I can't. Nope. Jimi Hendrix. Nope. I think his singing is great. And these are so-called bad singers, like Iggy Pop, Billy Corrigan from Smashing Pumpkins. He's a good singer. Who would put Ozzy Osbourne in that list? Not me. Nope. Ozzy Osbourne's a treasure. He has an awesome voice. Neil Young, yeah, it may not be some people's cup of tea, but it didn't make my list. I don't have any Neil Young here. And that was pretty much it. Those are my honorable mentions. Again, they didn't make the list at all, my top 10, because for reasons. Because I just don't consider them that bad enough that the top 10 that I picked, I know enough people dislike these singers and have a hard time getting into these singers. Now, say what I could not for the life of me put Russell Mayo from Sparks into that category at all. Although I know for my brother and for certain other people who are like old, like 80s metalheads, okay, they hate it. They hate it. Like true, true. And I know I'm an enigma because I'm a true 80s metalhead too. But for I found the charm into. I mean, when you see who's at number one on my list, because I made a list here. Once you see who's at number one, you're gonna be like, okay, I can see how you can make the transition from this singer to Russell. And but I love Russell, so I cannot by any good conscience put because he's a great singer. His voice has maintained itself throughout the years. Some of these singers, I'd be hard pressed to say that they sound as good at Russell's age as they did even 20 years ago, maybe. All right, let's get into it. Now, I don't want let's, okay, at number 10, we are going with Brian Johnson. I prefer he's in time again, these are my top 10 favorite singers that are considered, terrible singers by other people's standards, but I like Brian Johnson. I love Bon Scott way more though. I'm a big Bon Scott fan, but Brian Johnson did a great job replacing him. You cannot compare. You do not compare Bon Scott with Brian Johnson because there is no comparison. Bon Scott for me is just in a different league of his own. But I dare you, okay, to listen to Thunderstruck and try not to think of Donald Duck when is singing it because it really does sound like Donald Duck singing Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. I yeah, just go listen to Thunderstruck and think Donald Duck. Okay, but I love him. I love him. That's why he's at number 10. At number 9, and there's a lot of people that don't like this guy singing. My dad, probably one of the singers that my dad hated the most. I know Larry Graves hates this guy, hates his singing, you know, likes the music and that, but a lot of people don't like Axl Rose, his singing. And his his voice did not hold up throughout the years. That's what you do when you're forcing it too much to try to make a statement, and there's a lot of singers on this list that will fit that bill that forced it too much, and now they're no longer good singers. You know, but back in the day, well, I was going to show these too. Brian Johnson at one of his best, you know, Axl Rose at one of his best, you know. So they're the the first two the first two I can think of. But okay, at number 8, I will be putting Steven Tyler at number 8. Again, his voice didn't really hold up all that well, throughout the years, so he strained it a little bit. Some of his best stuff is from this. I have his other kind of another greatest hits of like more later stuff that has the stuff from Armageddon on it, and Crying and Angel and Crazy and those kind of things, and you know but this stuff here, they still don't have my favorite. I think Chip Away at the Stone, Mama Kin. Those are my kind of my two favorite. Yeah, those are my two favorite Aerosmith songs, but they're not on here. They have Dream On, Same Old Song and Dance, Sweet Emotion, Walk This Way, Last Child, Back in the Saddle, Draw the Line, Kings and Queens, Come Together, which is of course a great cover song of Beatles, and then Remember Walking in the Sand. So they should have put Chip Away the Stone on here. They should have put Mama Kin. That would have been nice. I was just saying. All right, get back to the list. And so at number 7, I love Bob Dylan. I love his voice. What's wrong with Bob Dylan's voice? But a lot of people can't stand. Bob Dylan. Even Larry Graves sometimes makes fun of that because it is an interesting singing style. But I love this greatest hits of. I have a couple of other things, all beautiful gifts that I ended up receiving from Larry Graves. This was a gift from Larry Graves, but I'm so thankful he sent me this because I do love it. So Bob Dylan, it's to be number 7. At number 6, Leonard Cohen. Even the old stuff of Suzanne and and all that good stuff. But for me, my first real love for Leonard Cohen came from this album of the Future. There's 3 songs that's on the soundtrack for the Natural Born Killers. That Oliver Stone divisive Oliver Stone movie, which I really do love that movie and would love to get on Blu-ray. But there's the future, waiting for the miracle, closing time, and democracy, and anthem. Those ones there in particular are the highlights on here. But the whole album is sweet and good, and I love his low, raspy, bassy voice in this. Some of his best material yet. So, all right, let's continue. So, at number 5, and for the life of me, I have a greatest hits somewhere in this darn room, okay? And I know where everything else is, except for this. I don't know where my greatest hits of this is. So, I have a greatest hits of Motorhead. Of course, I'm talking about Lemmy Kilmister. Because he's at number 5 because I love it. I do love his voice. I do love his gravelly voice. I'm not always in the mood to listen to them. Like I, I like to listen to other stuff every now and then. But I have to admit, when I do listen to Motorhead, I love it, and it's killing me. I gotta like after work when I come back, I gotta take another fine tooth comb look, but I don't know where it went. It's just sort of disappeared somewhere and it's blending in with everything else, and I don't know where it is. I see everything else, but yeah, well, whatever. But yeah, Lemmy Kilmister. He's at number 5. Love Motorhead. Lately, at number 4 here, specifically from this new album, and of course now I've been going back and listening to some of his older albums like Bone Machine and Rain Dogs. But I really do love this album, and I'm starting to really dig Tom Waits at number 4. Tom Waits is a voice, especially like my favorite song for in particular is Broke Loose. I love that song. There's another one on another album that's super good too, but the more I hear some Tom Waits, the more, and again, he's not considered the a great singer. He has a certain gravelly, you know, out of tune voice sometimes, but it's those imperfections from all of these guys. It's their imperfections that makes them such great singer. You don't sometimes you don't want the most crafted singers. So here at number 3, even when he was with the first band, and then he came and did some solo stuff. I don't have anything from his first band that he was in. It was not his band; it's the guitar player's band. But I'm talking about Diamond David Lee Roth, Diamond Dave, and I love Eat 'Em and Smile. I also have Skyscraper, and I happen to bring that here to show you. I kind of like them both equally. Great renditions of California Girls and Just a Gigolo on there, which is awesome. But for me, and Steve Vai is playing for him on those, and with of course I love Going Crazy. Always loved Going Crazy. I love David Lee Ross's wow high pitched screams and everything. Again, not another voice that held up very well throughout the years. But back in the day, yeah, I love me some David Lee Roth. And it was again, this is a pretty difficult list, of bad singers that I love. Okay, you have to know where I'm going for number 2 as bad singers that I love. And yeah, he made it to number 2. Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, especially this album here. Yep, number 2 is Kurt Cobain. Such a great yeah, such a great interesting singer. I mean, listen to this. You listen, and the way he sings those songs, like my girl, don't lie to me. Just his cadence of it. Jesus, yeah, Jesus doesn't want me for a sunbeam. The man who sold the world, but it was so like with the atmosphere, the acoustic arrangements, how they put it together. There's some. This is a bit of a just a bit of a haunting performance. Doing Where You Sleep Last Night is awesome. Lake of Fire. Oh gosh, Plateau. How much I love Plateau. Yeah, Kurt Cobain, especially this more so than anything else. Just he was at the top of his form with this, I think. All right, at number 1, it's in my top 5 favorite bands. Okay, it's at number 4, and a lot of people would be like, oh, they don't like this guy singing. He's been described as weasels being caught in the trap, sounding like chipmunks on helium. But I love Geddy Lee. As number 1, Geddy Lee from Rush. So many powerful stuff. That powerful high falsetto vocals from the early years. You know everything from Fly By Night up to 2112. I loved Hemispheres. Then you go up to you know Moving Pictures, and there's other little gems here and there. This this the last album at his at his most worn out. You can start hearing the strain, and Geddy Lee was holding those good vocals for so long. I love his vocals. I love every range throughout every decade of their career. But for me, this album became like the culmination of everything that came before it, and just to show that you don't need to sing high and like he did before to have some such great songs. There's such emotion, and more so than the other albums. Some of the albums can get there's one album that gets a little preachy. Some of them get a little, but this album, there's such a there's such an element of emotional quality to this that just heightens it. And yeah, so those are my top 10. Longer video than I was expecting, but once I get into a little topic, you know me, I can't hold back. I gotta give you the full deal. But those are the top 10. Hate, like them or hate them, these are my favorite singers that are considered bad or terrible, So you take it as you will. All right, I am done for this one. And everybody, I love you guys out there. If you are considering subscribing, go watch other videos first. Don't willy nilly subscribe to me until you're sure you're going to love my channel and feel comfortable here and happy here. I want to spare you from being offended. If something I might say, you'll disagree with, and I don't like what he said there. I'm not going to agree with everybody's point of view, especially when it comes to music. We all like what we like, and there's nothing wrong with liking what we like. We're allowed to like what we like, and who cares if other people like it or not? I do not care at all if other people love Tool, but Tool will be my favorite band of all time. Maynard James Keenan is my favorite singer of all time, so there. All right, please leave a like, hit the like button, of course. Leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. I'll give you a channel heart if I see your I've seen your comment if I give you a channel heart. And and yeah, and I'll do my best to reply. I love replying whenever I can. And okay, everybody, just be safe. Take care. I will see you on the flip side. And everybody have a great day, evening, morning, night, or afternoon, wherever you may be. Peace, everybody.